A very pleasant morning to all my dear children. I hope you all are in the pink of health and taking good care of yourself. Children, I welcome you all to today's English e-lesson. But before we begin, I would like to ask you something. Children, have you ever done rock climbing, river rafting or rock climbing? I'm sure you all must have done such activities in your PDC and must have noticed that these things are not easy tasks. One needs to be strong both emotionally and physically. Actually, these things are not everyone's cup of tea. But there are many people who are quite adventurous and continue their passion in later years of their life. And today, we are going to talk about a really great mountaineer, Major HPS Ahluwalia, in the chapter, The Summit Within. In this chapter, Major HPS Ahluwalia has told us about his experience and feelings as he stood on the highest peak of the world, the Mount Everest. So before I begin with the chapter, I would like to talk about the author of the chapter, Major HPS Ahluwalia. Ahluwalia is an Indian mountaineer who has made immense contributions in the field of adventure, sports environment and social work. Ahluwalia has been the president of Indian Mountaineering Foundation. Apart from that, he has also been the chairman of Special Ability Trust, the Youth Exploring Society. Ahluwalia has also been the chairman of Planning Committee of Persons with Disability. Due to his advanced training in mountaineering at Himalayan Mountaineering Institute, Darjeeling, he climbed extensively in Sikkim and Nepal. He climbed the Mount Everest on 29th May 1965. Major Ahluwalia was the member of first team conquering the Mount Everest in 1965. Now let's talk about the plot of the chapter. The author HPS Ahluwalia has narrated his experience of climbing the summit of Everest in this chapter. As the author stood on the summit, many emotions surged through him. Of all the emotions, the dominant one was humility. Humility means humble. He felt quite humble. No doubt he was very happy, but at the same, he was sad. He was sad because he had conquered the ultimate and thereafter all the roads would take him down. It was because he knew that there was no higher peak to climb. Climbing the summit of Everest provides a deep sense of joy which lasts lifetime. He knew that the joy was to last the rest of his life. According to the author, there is another summit, the summit of mind, which is even more difficult to climb. After getting down from the summit, the author questioned himself as to why people climb mountains and why he wanted to conquer the Mount Everest. Then he resolved the query himself, saying that man takes delight in overcoming obstacles and mountains present great difficulties. Actually, the climber gets inspiration to face life's ordeals with determination once he climbs any mountain. Thereafter, the author says that there are three qualities that played a major role in climbing, and these three qualities are endurance, persistence, and willpower. Endurance means tolerance, persistence means continuation of effort, and willpower means determination. Ahluwalia says that these three qualities attracted the author to climb the summit of Mount Everest. Moreover, since childhood, the author was attracted by mountains and was in love with them. He feels that mountains are nature at its best. And above all, mountains are a means of communion with God. So there are various reasons which author Major HPS Ahluwalia has given us, because of which he wanted to conquer the Mount Everest. It provides physical, emotional and spiritual experience. And now he is giving us the reason why he specifically wanted to conquer the Mount Everest. He says that Everest is the highest and the mightiest and has defied many previous attempts. It is actually a brutal struggle, a struggle with ice and rocks. On climbing its summit, one has this sense of victory, like I have done something, I have achieved the ultimate, and of happiness. so he wanted to climb it. Its view brings a spiritual change in his mind. Author even feels that mountains have enchanting beauty and majesty. It is a challenge which is difficult to resist, so he could not control himself to conquer the highest peak of the world, the Mount Everest. Author also shares with us the importance of fellow climbers. While climbing, two persons share a rope. One climber holds the rock firmly, while the other climber cuts the steps in hard ice. Even famous climbers have left records of the help given by others. It is not a single-man job to be a climber. It's not only physical difficulties which will deter him. These difficulties are emotional too. If one is disheartened, the other inspires him and does not let him to give up the struggle. So fellow companion is a great source of inspiration and emotional support. Looking down from the Everest, the climber feels that the effort was actually worthwhile. It's a ennobling and enriching experience. The climber left some symbols to make their obeisance. The author left a picture of Guru Nanak, Rawat left a picture of Goddess Durga, Edmund Hillary had buried a cross, and these all are not symbols of conquest. These are symbols of reverence. Thereafter, author says that there is another summit which everyone has to climb, and this summit is within yourself, your own mind. It is summit within. It is also a very difficult task, as it is unscalable and as great as the Mount Everest. It is the most difficult task to know oneself. So this summit is fearful and unscalable. Author further says that the physical act of climbing to the summit of mountain outside is akin. Akin means similar to the act of climbing mountain. It teaches us much about ourselves. The Everest experience inspired the author to face life boldly. He was further inspired to conquer the summit within. And climbing this inside peak is like climbing Everest too. Effects of both are same. Both these climbs change a person completely. So journey of climbing to the highest summit in the world brings to the light the internal summit within us, which are perhaps higher than the Everest. So the conclusion of the chapter is, obstacles don't have to stop you. If you run into a wall, don't turn around and give up. Figure out how to climb it, go through it, or work around it. Thank you.